goal can sell, but I don't have an entry just yet. We leave it alone. Look at goal. So, so on goal, right? I want to talk about a few things here, right? So this might be a little long because I want to explain it really heavily for you too, right? But on goal, I want to take a look at a few things. You'll notice that first and foremost, goal is in bearish momentum. That's very important, right? Goal is definitely bearish. There's nothing about goal that says it's bullish. And we have this here that is drawn. And I'm going to drag it out. You all know that I love to drag these zones out. All right? I'm going to drag it out. I said last night that gold had potential to sell, but I did not have an entry as yet, because obviously it didn't accumulate much. All right? I'm going to take a zoom into this here now. And we'll take a look at this in a little while. But I want to showcase not just this, but also this. What do you think? All right, let me just remove this here. What do you think on this? Retail traders in these areas would have been prioritizing. It's the same thing I spoke about USD JPY yesterday. The same exact thing that I spoke about, right? Which is a trend line trap, just it's in a support form. And look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 reasons. 9 reasons to sell gold, to buy gold, sorry. My apologies. 9 reasons. Retail traders, or the vast majority of retail traders, I should say, had to buy gold. Because you know why? They make statements like gold is on support. This is the equivalent of, again, just like what I said on USD yesterday, in my video yesterday. They make statements like gold is on support. This is the equivalent of building a house with just glass or just wood. You're using one reason to buy gold. But what about if it is they say, no, they use more than one reason? What do? They say, you know what? I put the RSI on, the stochastic oscillator onto the chart. I'm not going to do it, but I'm telling you, if you don't believe me, do it yourself. And I'm telling you that in every single one of these areas, gold will tell you the stochastic oscillator or the relative strength index is going to tell you that in every single one of these areas, or most of them, that gold is oversold. So it's time to buy, because that's what these indicators do, right? So let's just say you're building your house with 2 materials, glass and wood. Eventually the wood is still going to rot, and eventually the glass is going to crack and break. For me, I said this last night, right? Again, I said this last night, that gold has an opportunity to sell based on what I saw here. But I don't usually advise people trade gold. I don't usually advise people try to, enter gold, because gold is one of those pairs that, is quite volatile. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can be burnt really bad, right? Now, as time progressed, I was watching a movie last night, with my girlfriend or whatever. And, as time progressed, I began to see it accumulate, right? And I was like, all right, cool, nice. It's actually accumulating quite high in the range. It's really most likely inducing retail to buy, with all of these wicks to the low, everything about this, it even started to show the accumulation, the exhaustion principle here. Now, in this case, this is why understanding what you see is so important, because this is indeed the exhaustion principle. And by exhaustion principle, I mean where wicks are being shot to the downside, making it appear that gold is ready to buy. But then you have to ask yourself, again, I've said this before, you are going to have the answers if you just ask the right question. Why would the dealer, the person who is actually in control of the market, show exhaustion on such an obvious support? Why? I ain't making sense. Something about that not making sense. So what does he do? He accumulates the market and I get in, but I'm not getting in to buy. Obviously not. I'm getting in to sell. And so said, so done. And you will see that, right? You may have seen it or you will see it. And beautifully enough, I got in with my signature 10 pip stop loss, right? So let me just adjust this here very quickly. With my, listen, hit with my signature 10 pip stop loss. Why can't I adjust this here? Why can't I? All right, so we just say something like that, right? Something like, right, like that. And as you can see, gold then came here. It came here, back to this area. Where's this? And maybe this, and now here. And then gold began to run back up. Now, all this time, Brandon sleeping, eh? All the time I sleep in, dribbling on my pillow, snoring. You understand? Tossing and turning in the middle of the night. Me, you know what's going on? I woke up and I was like, all right, cool. Woke up to use the bathroom. I was like, all right, cool. Goal is up. Nice. Congratulations. Excellent. Right? Not really fussing up myself. Stop loss to profit. So I automatically put my stop loss right somewhere in this general vicinity. I said, all right, if it had to come back, worst case scenario, it's going to give me about 30 pips. I only wanted 10 realistically. Right? And then it shoots down again. It shoots down again. Right? And it comes down here. So by this time now, gold is up about, what's that? About 200 pips or so, give or take. Something like that. About 200 pips, give or take. All right? Because now it's back to this area. And you know something? Let's do the same thing again. Because that's what the market is there. Just doing the same thing over and over. 1, 2, and last but not least, 3. What are retail traders seeing here? What do you think they are seeing? Stop and ask yourself, what do you think they are seeing? What do you think they might be doing? What do you think if they aren't building their house with just one element? If they're not building their houses with just glass? What do you think they're going to be seeing here? They might put the RSI back on. They might put the stochastic back on. And in these areas, again, if not all of them, some of them, at least one of them, is going to say that gold is overbought in this, oversold in this area. So it's time to buy. What a lot of people don't tell you about the relative strength index is when it's oversold, that does not necessarily mean that it's going to reverse. It just means that this might be an area where it might try to pull back to let some people, some of the sellers who are actually making money because they are on the right side of the move, they might try to take profit in some of these areas. But they're not going to come out, close out completely, or not everyone is going to close out, and thus the market is not going to reverse in this area. It's not. And that's the problem. That's what people, that's what traders, the vast majority, the sheep, as I like to call them, like to enter for buys in these areas. And what would have happened is the exact same thing I just said. Right in this area, you would have seen that again, maybe it was oversold in this area. I'm not putting, listen, don't take my word for it. You put on you go and look at your own chart in this exact day. What's this? The 4th of February 2021. Go and look at this exact day about gold. And you tell me if it is, I mean, I might be wrong, who knows? Right? But I'm not putting it on just a proof of concept. In these areas, in here or somewhere, let me just drag this, maybe something like that. Somewhere here is going to say that it is oversold. And it might have come back. And then you know what I did? I took my stop loss that was already in profit and moved it down here. Because I said if it has to come back, guess what? Now I'm going to take about, what's that? About 80 pips. Worst case scenario. Worst case scenario. But I didn't close because I don't think, based on what I'm seeing, that gold has a reason to go back up because, again, it's just oversold. It's just a support. It's not enough reason for the market to buy. So I held on to it. And I am still holding on to it. And you're going to see that. And you know what? In talking and doing this whole session, gold has dropped even more. Isn't that weird? Gold has dropped even more, ultimately dropping about 260 pips. If you look at the original risk to reward when I had a 1 or a 10 pip stop loss, this is a 1 to 26 risk to reward ratio overnight. I was talking about earlier this week, and even on my last video on USD JPY, that I was not having the best trading year nor the best trading week. But I stay my course. I talk about my losses. I talk about this all the time that, I'm going to tell you that I'm not really having the best week. I was literally at just a little above break even for the year and for the week. And look at this. This one trade, literally this one trade, assuming, because I'm not going to tell you how much I risk, it's not 1%, but assuming I risked 1% on this trade, this one trade would have given me 26% gain. 26% gain and counting, because I believe that it could keep dropping. Today's only Thursday. We have NFP tomorrow. What I think could happen is the exact same thing again. Let's go to this low. And let's see what happens at this low. I'm not sure. Maybe it might try to reverse here. Who knows? Maybe it might get there before NFP. Maybe it might break this low. But I'm not going to close it. Because worst case scenario, I'm going home with 80 pips. 70 more than I wanted. But this is how you trade, my friends. Ask yourself the relevant questions and you might get the relevant answer, because a lot of the time, I've said this before, we know the answers we just don't like to ask the questions. We don't like to ask the questions. That is the problem. That is the problem. So I want you to think about this. Go and look at this for yourself and ask yourself what you would have done in this area. What might you have done in this area? What would you, in this area, would you have bought? Or in this area, would you have bought? And if you would have, then you most likely would have paid me. Because as you know, and if you don't know this, in this game, the losers pay the winners. So everybody who bought gold here is putting money into my account right now. And I ain't saying that to be disrespectful. I'm saying that to make you understand that this is how Forex works. The money has to come from somewhere. Obviously, the money going into my account has to come from somewhere. It is from everybody who bought gold in this area. And furthermore, just to be clear, it's the same thing I said. There is no secret about this. It's so much of not a secret that I am showing you this on YouTube for free. I'm showing you guys this on Telegram for free because this is how it works. But it's again confirming my point that this is only about 5% of what is necessary to be successful in this game, in this thing that we play, in this thing that we call Forex. So if you did buy gold last night, I really apologize for your loss. No disrespect. I'm serious. I apologize for your loss. I'm very serious. But that's the wrong thinking that you're approaching this market with. Using the things that you learn for free from these people, these organizations that teach you for free, is what is keeping you in deficit. And that has been and will always be the biggest problem. The things that they teach you for free, not me, the things that they teach you for free, oftentimes are the things that keep you on the Ferris wheel coming back and injecting more and more of your liquidity back into the market. So I really hope that you learn something about gold here. I will show you the entry, the position, blah, 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 blah. I'll show you where it entered, blah, blah, blah. I entered a slightly lower, but again, I was able to hold with a 10 pip stop loss and be safe and make money. So I digress. I hope that you learned something on gold.